astral spider, and it still crawls around the room. I'm seeing it.
Astral
Mm.
spiders love psychic energy.
Warning: the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are based on psychic impressions and true life events that may be potentially frightening and or disturbing to some viewers. Any of the information that is shared in this production should not replace the advice of medical professionals and is intended for general purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chasity, aka the Luminary Luna Beams.
And I'm Emily, the fine art medium.
And we're two mediums that specialize in the paranormal. Our purpose is to shed light on what goes bump in the night. That's why we call this podcast
Lights at midnight.
Lamp.
Bing!
Aha. So today, guys, we are going to start our listener stories. And our first listener stories are coming from Megan today. She's super awesome, special. We really like Megan. She's got 4 total stories. It's about 10 minutes long max with the audio. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead here shortly and listen to her stories. And then we're going to intuitively interpret some information about them and see what we can kind of pull in from spirit. Also, too, we'll be integrating. Emily's got the REM pod Mickey in the background,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've got some cards maybe to use later to validate because this is the season of integration. So we're going to integrate the things that we talked about and learned and taught everybody last season. And we're just going to have a little bit of fun today. Also, we have some more Seer app images to share, which I find quite interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for today's episode. But first, as always, we're going to do this week's experiences. Emily, what you got for us?
So I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before in the morning at like 4 where I saw that shadow figure on my fiance's side of the bed, and I think it had to do with me doing the Glatzel family haunting and Arnie Johnson. So it's based off of the documentary on Netflix, The Devil on Trial, the new one that was just released, or The Devil Made Me Do It case with Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Mm.
So I suspect it has to do with that. But yeah, essentially I woke up and I'm walking at this point, so it's not like I'm dreaming or anything, but through my third eye I see it just standing there lurking, and cuz I'm still like tired and groggy, I'm just like, "Yo, I am not playing games today or right now cuz I am sleepy and I just can't. So please leave." And then it left. So I just thought
Good.
it was weird. And then
Yeah.
I noticed my memory's been really shitty, and I'm not sure if it's my medication or if it's paranormal related.
Right. Right. Yeah, we both were a little sleepy today, which we're
Yeah.
going to talk about here, I guess, soon. But yeah, it's been an interesting week for sure. Paranormal wise, are you done with your this week's experiences?
Mhm.
Okay. So there's been a couple things, and I had 2 I wanted to share, and I forgot about one of them already, but maybe it'll come back to me by the time I get done with this, and it's super short, but because I can't really share a whole lot of information, but I can say that we had a family friend pass away, and this was yesterday, and I saw my mother 3 nights ago, and she said that this family friend had had an incident, and I said, I think he's passing. And as soon as I said that, his mother come in, and she's already in spirit, and she come in from my left side. My arm got tingly, and I felt her come down, and she was in the light because there was light completely behind her. And she was just kind of smiling and nodding, and my mom wanted to talk to her, and she was like, basically she said something along the lines of like, I love you, take care of so and so. And she's like, tell her I said this. I'm like, Mom, she can hear you, because she's kind of my God's helped to bring her down. But I just found it to be, very interesting that ended up kind of connecting with his mom a couple days before he passed. So, especially with my mom, it was one of her friends. So she's kind of grieving right now. And I had one more. I can't remember what it is. Yeah. Anyways, I guess if I remember, I'll share it later. I know it's only been 1 week since we recorded, so I've been kind of chilling since the whole Waverly thing because I noticed I cut my cords on Monday with Waverly, and I was like, done. And I haven't had any like weird stuff since.
Mm-hmm.
Any weird body pains associated, like because I was having a pain in my chest right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like right here for 3 days,
That's
and
kind of where
then
mine is, but like in the boob area.
yeah, it's like right at the top for me.
Yeah, that's where it
Um,
was.
mm-hmm. It was like right here, and then I was having a neuropathy, and I already have a little bit of neuropathy. Well, not a little bit, I have a lot of neuropathy at times, but I was having issues with like half of my body going tingly and stuff. But I do have like my spine issues, so was very hard to gauge. But luckily, all that is kind of over with. Christy, so far, I don't think has had any paranormal experiences. Um, still chatting with her, still talking with her, and everything. So, but since then, I think that's about it for this week's experiences. I know they're nothing super crazy, but
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. It's okay not to be crazy sometimes.
Yeah,
It's a break, so
exactly.
yeah. Alrighty. Well, I guess we could go ahead and start off by go ahead and playing Megan's clips. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to listen to her stories, and then we'll reconvene.
I just finished listening to the Lights at Midnight podcast, and I wanted to submit a story for you guys. This happened probably about a year ago. I fell asleep, and while I was sleeping, and this happened immediately, I astral projected, and there was a huge black spider on my window, and it took up my whole window. So it had to be at least 3 feet tall, 3 feet wide, and it was a black shadow. It was a giant spider. I saw it, and I felt that instant fear in my stomach, and I knew it was evil, and I telepathically shouted at it, no, because I knew it was trying to come into me, and so I shouted no in my head, and then it disappeared. And then I suddenly woke up and turned the lights on, and I couldn't believe that happened. It happened so instantly. When I turned the light on, I thought I was awake the whole time. And that's how it felt, and I knew it was an astral projection experience. And I never sensed the entity around me, and I just felt the power coming from within me, and telepathically shouted no with the full force of my power from being an ancient soul, and told it to basically get the F out, and it never came back. And that was a really powerful experience I wanted to share with you guys. And I've got another story to share with you. And this one is kind of a series of things that happened to me. So a lot of stuff happens to me when I'm falling asleep, and sometimes when I first wake up. So in my room, I've seen a number of times things that are on my wall floating off the wall, if that makes sense. So necklaces and this little piece I had that had dangling things coming from it. The little dangling things were floating up. I've also seen things in my room kind of going up the wall, like just a little object, and I'll reach out to touch it, and I can't physically see it, but it's like I know I saw it, and it's happened so many times. And one of the most unusual ones, I was falling asleep, and this thing came into my room. And I didn't get it was like I got a neutral vibe from it, if that makes sense, because it didn't freak me out. It was more just like, what the fuck is that? It almost looked extraterrestrial, but I don't know that it was. It was a round object, and it looked gray to me. It was a round, kind of flat object. Wasn't super big, maybe 4 or 5 inches, and it had little spikes on the sides, and it was rotating kind of like, your classic spaceship. And I felt it looking at me, and I was just like, I don't know what this is. And I watched it for a little bit, and then it disappeared. So yeah, that's just, I don't know if that's helpful to you guys, but that kind of thing, like that little object thing, I've never seen that again. I mean, it doesn't happen every night, but I have seen things like that, things floating or little things in my room so many times that now I'm just used to it. It's like, again, it doesn't happen every night, but it's just like, oh, okay, this is happening again, and I'm not sure, like, after listening to you guys, if it's sometimes it's things that I'm doing where I'm making things float or whatever a little bit. Again, it doesn't, at first I was like startled by it, but I've gotten so used to it, it doesn't feel like it's something negative, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel necessarily like benevolent either, but I was in high school. My grandpa was in the hospital, who I was super close with, and I was driving home with my mom from a late flute lesson, and I knew, just absolutely knew, that we needed to go see Grandpa in the hospital. I had this strong, immediate knowing. And we went there, and because we did that, my mom and I were present when my grandpa passed away. If we had not gone there when I said to, we would have missed it, and he would have been alone in the hospital when he died. So I was totally blown away, and I tell you truly, I just absolutely knew we needed to go there. And I've had other experiences in my life of just absolutely knowing something. Um, Another quick story is when I was younger than that, I was at home, I was in elementary school, and I knew that something was wrong with my dad. Just had this clear knowing that something was wrong, and I found out my dad was in this head-on collision. He fortunately survived, but I knew it before anyone else did. And I have many other examples of clear knowing like that are pretty amazing. And I tell people and they don't believe me, but I know that you at least are one of the ones that know the truth of this ability. Okay, I got just one more for today. I'm stuck in traffic and I was thinking of other examples, and I'll tell you something that happened more recently in my life. So my current husband, we were still dating, and we were both working at Safeway. He was a baker, and he mentioned to his dad and I that he wanted to be a welder. And as soon as he said that, I knew that he was going to be a welder one day. And he didn't actually become a welder until several years later, but it was like I knew when he said that that is going to happen for him. And I didn't tell him that until after he actually did become a welder. And of course he didn't believe me. He's like, oh yeah, you're just saying that, but that really happened. And yeah, I have lots of like little examples of things like that happen. I've also experienced some of the negative things with the ability as far as negative entities, but I've gotten better at being able to discern what are my thoughts versus not my thoughts and that type of thing. So yeah, just wanted to share that.
Okay, so where I want to start here is with like where she talks about seeing things floating in her room. And I feel like she's very similar to me and has that ability to manifest energy and poltergeist like energy and PK energy manifestations. So when it comes to that, I think that's what it is. And
Right. Okay. So pretty much where she's so sensitive, where she has very intuitive abilities, she's very claircognizant, because she is a Gemini. Okay. And just to have full transparency, I did an astrological reading for her 2 weeks ago. So now I know her intuitive profile because I want to be very transparent. I don't want to act like this is, my first time talking to her or anything. It's not like that. But really, what I'm feeling is there, you're right. She's very much like you, but her intuitive abilities brings in things. It's bringing stuff to her. She's a lighthouse, but also
mhm,
too, she practices astral traveling like you. And when you practice doing that, you're actually opening up doorways and gateways, and spirit saying you're actually breaking down your own grids in your house. And that you'll have to repair them and close them up. So basically, what I'm seeing is where she's seeing this stuff in her room, I would say it's on or near the same wall as she saw the astral spider. Um, so she was talking about the round, flat object with spikes. That is some type of. I mean, she's got elementals, and although she's on the cusp of Gemini and Taurus, so you have a earth sign and you have an air sign. So, she's very claircognizant, but she's also very like grounded at the same time. She has the ability to balance out that stuff, but it also makes her susceptible to elementals more so because of her earth energy. And I'm wondering if that was just some form of energy, and I'm not quite sure exactly what it is. I don't feel like it's
I
extraterrestrial,
got a thought
personally.
form.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, it's some type of just energy
Mm-hmm.
that's manifested into something. It's not necessarily from that, but I think for me, it's external. I don't think it come from her.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the grids in her house, especially in her room, because I feel like this is where she does a lot of her meditating. This is where she does a lot of her resting. And yeah, so for me, the grids are broken down. There is an astral doorway in this part of your space, Megan. And that is something that will continue to be open, that it can be closed. But if you, and it's something you can work with, but at the same time, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, is something that has to be managed and cleared. And I'm not saying you don't clear. I don't know your current, excuse me, clearing routines, but for me, I think that's why you have these experiences coming through, and it's something, in my personal opinion, that will need to be regulated. That's something that'll need to be like your grids need to be fixed in your room, in your house, probably, but you're literally like a beacon of light. There, anything's just coming to you. And interestingly enough, so I decided to run the Seer app for like maybe, I don't know, just a few minutes. And I just asked, I said, hey, what about the astral spider? And we're going to insert the clip. You'll see this here. Basically, you'll see it's like a doorway. And up top, it's rolling. It's got like colors and waves rolling at the top, but there is a doorway. Um, and that's validating. And then there's another picture that we'll get to, I guess, here in a sec, but it doesn't fit right here, but it does fit somewhere else from the Seer app. I'm actually starting to enjoy it a little bit, but that's kind of how I feel about that area. There is some type of rift in the grid for me
Mm-hmm. When
because
I
I can
saw
see it.
when I saw the picture, like the rainbowy one you showed me, that's immediately what I thought of was like the astral realm doors, similar to my situation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What else would you like to go to next?
So let's talk. Well, okay. So the whole being tired thing before us recording, you were like, you know what, Spirit's probably trying to put us into a meditation, so that's what I did. And I started picking up an earthbound spirit, and I picked up an older woman with short light hair, petite, looks between 70s and maybe early 80s in age. Yeah. And then after that, I started seeing a dark, shorter hair, um, feminine looking like being with a skeletal face. And it was
Mm,
really creepy.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you got for the earthy?
Yeah. So I don't know
Okay.
if it's two separate ones or if it's of the same.
Okay, so I definitely pick up a woman energy, and I'm wondering if that is associated to her energy drain as well. I almost feel like she may have lived there, lived in the area, but I also feel like there's a man in this
Mm-hmm.
space as a masculine energy in the space as well, and I don't think they're connected. He feels like he would have passed at a younger age. And I don't mean like a child, I mean like an adult, but at a younger age, more so than you would think. Um, I think she's what's causing it.
Yeah.
energy drain. And when she was talking about the necklaces, it made me think of this lady.
Mhm.
It's like floating and stuff. Um, I don't know why. I don't. I think I don't want to say it's even like a fractal or a residual because there's some residual energy in this place she's in.
Yeah.
For sure. Like every place has residual, but residual energy as in like this lady, I think she's attracted to her because of her light.
Yeah.
And yeah, because and I don't think she really means any harm either.
Mhm.
Good. Personally, I don't feel like she's there to try to hurt her, but we know it's not good to have a
Yeah,
around.
I
I
think
The lady's a threat.
I think the first one I saw with like the short light hair, I don't see her as the threat.
Mm-mm.
I'm wondering
No.
like though with the what I was seeing with like the skeletal face, if it's just like it being draining and it's like the symbol for that.
Right. It could be. It very well could be. I definitely think the old lady's draining from her. I
Mhm.
just channeled in the man or the male masculine energy, so I haven't really went anywhere with that quite yet. But I do feel like there is a man there. I
Mhm.
heard she's pretty.
I fell
I just
asleep
heard,
before I got that far, so I don't.
yeah, no, I mean, because I'm channeling as we go,
Yeah.
so, but that's what I'm hearing right now. Like, oh, she's pretty. I think he admires her.
Mhm.
So this guy needs to go. And I'm
Okay.
not saying it's like I don't know. It might be kind of the same thing. The dark because we're not always going to see the exact same things
Yeah.
when we channel. But this guy, he gives me creepy vibes. I
Oh my
think
god.
he's what's watching her.
Yeah. And I just came to that realization and at the beginning it was like I had this feeling similar to like a spirit spouse, but
That's
not.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm like, "Well,
that's
that's
what this
weird."
could be.
Yeah, it could get to that point if left unchecked.
Yeah,
And but then that's when I saw the females and then that's when I kind of dropped it. But now that we're talking about it, I'm now going back and now I can see it.
yeah, exactly. And you
Yeah.
know what? I think now the woman she does have a grandmother god. And I don't know if it's probably I don't know if it's like her grandmother now,
Yeah.
but it might be like a great grandmother on mother's side. She might not have ever known her either. If you hear papers, excuse me, that's because I'm flipping through them right now, but I'm looking to see if I can find that somewhere. I'll look a little bit later, but I have that written down. I'm pretty sure it's something I talked to her about having a grandmother guide. And generally when I do my astrological stuff, it's just to focus on validating your intuitive gifts and understanding where they come from. So I don't really go super deep into it, but yeah, I, there is a grandmother guide coming in for her. That's in spirit.
Mhm.
That helps her. So, what else would you like to talk about?
Well, okay. So I was wondering if like that first person I saw with the short light hair was her grandmother cuz it
Okay.
gave me that vibe cuz she had like this she was like between 70s and 80s, so I feel like that was her and that I cuz I know I keep flipping back and forth between the dark short-haired skeletal face looking female and that's what's tripping me up cuz I'm having a trouble separating them.
So the grandmother guide is not going to, for me, is not going to show herself the same as being in the house.
Uh
So for me, the female woman I'm picking up, and you'll have to probably discern this one for, in your own, through your own gut feeling. But the woman I'm picking up in the house for me, I'm not really seeing her. I'm feeling her right now.
okay.
Yeah, my sight right now is more on a downward incline because of the new moon. So that
Okay.
is, yeah. So I'll feel and know things more right now unless I get a direct vision.
I'm gonna say the older woman with the short light hair is her grandmother, and the dark short hair one with the skeletal face is the negative earthbound spirit that's draining her
I
because she's
agree.
she's giving the crone vibes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can agree with that.
yeah.
I can agree with that. And why? And you know what? That also makes me think, if you've seen like the brown haired, like skeletony face, that means that they are in a state of need, like
Mm-hmm.
energy need, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And other things can come through here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I still feel like there's some type of guardian with her that is helping her manage this stuff. Plus, she's very strong, like willed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she has the ability to block out some of this stuff herself.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is good, which hasn't 100% happened except for the portal area. It's in a corner. So Megan, I don't know, hopefully this will come in clear enough, but I feel like the window is near, it's maybe in the middle or near the corner of that wall. And that's where you're seeing stuff. Cause I feel like she's in bed. For whatever reason, I feel like I'm sitting on, if the bed is up against the wall, I feel like I'm sitting on the left hand side and the hubby's side is the right hand side. Or, my astral stuff can be flipped sometimes. Emily's heard
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
before.
yeah.
But I feel like I'm sitting on the left side of the bed. There's a coffee table next to me. There is a window somewhat in front of me, and then to the window to the wall. It's like it's over in the corner, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of where this windowy wall corner area, like over here from where I'm sitting, is where I feel like this space opens up. And it almost looks like I mean, it looks like a grid, but it looks like I'm looking down a tunnel. Like, think of lines and they're just going,
It's like a warm hole.
kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like space time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I feel. Um, but things can come through here. I'm hearing now there's somebody that governs this, that helps keep the super bad things out.
Yeah.
But she's on this path, like she's, she know when she said, like, we're some of the only people that will believe her. She has tons of family support, but not in the sense of what she's experiencing, because they have different, belief systems, which is normal for people like us. It takes a lot of time to kind of integrate this into your life for some
Mm-hmm.
people. But yeah, I think that's what it is, because she's like on her learning journey still. Like, but she's very, very intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
So this doesn't surprise me at all
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. Which I think that's why the astral spider come in.
Yeah. Astral
Mm,
spiders love, 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 love psychic energy. They
hmm.
feed off that shit.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I feel like I don't know why I want to say this, but I feel like things get misplaced around the house, as well. Like, you might set something down and you knew you set it there. You're like, I know I set it there, and you won't. You
Mm-hmm.
won't be able to find it for a while, and it'll just pop back up. And I think that's partially due to the woman that's there, and it is an older woman. She gives me crone energy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the astral spider, I think, is a part of her energy drain too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the astral spider, and it still crawls around the room. I'm seeing it because I'm sitting on this side of the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm seeing cream colors and like light blues, very contemporary. But the light from this window now, if the window is not in the right place, spirit's telling me that might be one of the doorways. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I will see like doors and windows in people's rooms that aren't actually there, but I see them in spirit. So just wanted to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But so got some cards. We'll see if Mickey, go off, Mickey.
Yeah, it'll be, is it my poltergeist PK energy or is it something else?
Yeah, depends on which day it is.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see if we want to validate anything. Let's find out some more about this Skeletor thing.
Skeletor.
Skeletor. We're gonna call it Skeletor. Oh, I did get the death quilt and the home, alcohol, home, death. I always pull 7. Okay, it's going to be really hard not to show it. I'm just going to go with this because it makes sense. Four of them popped out at the same time. We've pulled some cards. You probably noticed a little cutty there because it took a while. And I decided to use a super awesome deck. I can only show you this side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and basically, the U card come out because it's Emily's deck and she's still working on getting everything squared away. But basically, you loved ones are nearby. So, meaning you, as in like you are manifesting some of this through your actions, which is not, we're not saying that it's a bad thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just something that has to be managed and learned how to be managed completely. And you're doing a really good job at it now. I just want to make that very clear. But it's just something to understand. It's something that we've had to learn the hard way, honestly. Next one is the loved ones are close. I'm using different words too than on the cards because we're not trying to give a lot away. The loved ones are close, meaning that I think that's validating that your grandmother, wouldn't you say, Emily?
Yeah, I think the woman I was picking up, the one was her grandmother.
Yeah. And then the next one is like poltergeisty
Mm-hmm.
activity. That one come out.
Mm-hmm.
And then, interestingly enough, can we show one?
Which one is it?
The circle
Yeah, I think I've
absorber.
shared it on Instagram.
Okay, so one of them is this one is the main one. There's two that I'd like to show, but if Emily lets us, we will. But this one is the negativity absorber.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you see how it looks like a disc. And I remember talking to her about this one. She's like, would this be good?" I'm like, "Yeah." Wondering if the disc, we were talking about this. I wonder if the disc actually in your room you were seeing spinning, and it because the way I saw it was like light too. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if it was actually clearing up residual energy.
Mm.
Negativity absorber.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the last one is no boundaries, like not having boundaries. And let's just say it looks very similar to what I was explaining to you.
Share it.
Well, I
Go
say
ahead.
you, huh?
I said share it. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is really interesting.
Yeah.
You were talking about a window and astral doors
Yeah.
about at night. So, because sooner or later we'll be able to share these more. I'm sure
Yeah.
Emily's still getting all of her stuff done, but I'll be happy to send Megan a copy or a picture of this. Would you allow that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, since we know Megan and stuff, we'll send her a picture of these. I thought it'd be really, really cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what's happening. We were going to do the lady. We still haven't got that far yet. Emily, do you have any cards nearby? Do you want to pull some? Are they already packed up?
They're like packed up.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, but the lady, I will say that the person in the with the skull, I got these three cards, and I could go further if I really wanted to. And I'll tell you what I mean. This is the death quilt. It's like pieces of the puzzle. This person in life struggled. This for me, and I'm just reading this intuitively, with alcohol and addiction, and the round surrounding their home life, and it between the choices that they made, it built the bed that they laid in. And this is in reverse. Death quilt. They passed away because of those things, and in life they constantly gave and gave and gave. And I do feel like, I don't know if you agree with this, but this would be a fractured piece of somebody. Like this is like a soulless piece of somebody
Mm.
hanging around, almost like it doesn't. And the one that's absorbing, that's sucking the energy, that's the skull. We really should investigate that more because I feel like there's a lot more to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely something more to it. So skeletori thing.
Yeah.
Emily and I were talking. We think it's like it doesn't have a lot of personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really got only a couple objectives. And that's why I think it was human, but it's a fractal. And the cards that I got that I just showed, um, I think that's part of like the progression. I think this person, honestly, is passed on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think they've mostly passed on, but there's still pieces left behind.
Yeah, I
Like, it's,
mean,
to me, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because it does feel very blah and like it's just wandering.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't have a lot of different, and I mean, a lot of times earthbound spirits, for me, they have personality. This thing is just like
Yeah,
womp
just
womp.
drifting.
Because it doesn't have a lot of energy, and it's
Mm-hmm.
trying to absorb energy, and maybe it's actually trying to like manifest
Mm-hmm.
and do things. It's trying to gain energy to become. If this thing was allowed to continue to grow, it could turn into something really dark.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll definitely want to talk about that. Is there anything else you want to add to the channeling?
No.
Okay. Um, you have a lot going on, Megan, but it's not all super negative. I don't really get an extremely negative vibe around you or in your space. Again, you have people around you protecting, in my opinion. Um, and we would like to, I mean, I think a good clearing of your space and understanding exactly how this continues to happen will change a lot, because you're very claircognizant, and you'll be able to, you know uh being claircognizant, and just in people in general, we have the ability to construct what's around us, just like when you commanded that spider entity to like stop. No, you have the same ability to use that, in a sense, to be able to clear out things and close things around your house. And with more practice, I think you'll be able to do this more fluently.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I will say though, I was feeling a little like woozy, not like nauseous or anything, but like I don't know how to describe it. It was just all it like here, like in my eyes and head, and it just felt like not dizzy, but like the beginnings of maybe being dizzy, but not dizzy, and maybe
Right.
like disoriented.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I had a bit of anxiety too. That could have just been me, but if we're going to talk about that just right before we started.
Mm-hmm.
So Megan, you can let us know if any of this really resonates with you, because I really feel like that's about it. Like, the most of your issues in your home is to do with this portal, and we'd like to definitely hear feedback from you, um, and see if any of this resonates.
First off, my grandmother, who I was super close with, I spent a ton of time with my maternal grandparents growing up. And I was very close with my grandma and my grandpa. So I know my grandmother is one of my spirit guides. I believe that I have several other spirit guides, and I know one of them is Palladian, because I am a Palladian starseed myself, and I believe I have a few others, but I know my grandma is one, and so I'm sure that's who you guys saw, and so it was really special to hear that you guys physically saw her. That's so cool. Now, as far as the other two earthbound spirits, that makes perfect sense to me. Actually, both of them do, but I'm not advanced enough quite yet. The way that you are, Emily, and like how Melinda is and how Chasity is, like you guys are more advanced psychically, so you can see this thing. Okay, so yeah, you guys can see them, and I cannot see them unless I am in meditation or in between awake and asleep, or for the most part, the things that I see are when I'm sleeping. And astral projecting as I sleep. Sometimes when I'm awake, I get visions in my mind where it's like I'm in two places at once. But when you said there's these two, that made perfect sense, because I definitely felt the draining, and I felt something watching me. And I even had an experience, and I didn't share this with you guys, where I was laying in my bed and I felt something freaking like spoon me from the back. And like literally like somebody was there, but there was nobody there. And then I had this really kind of creepy dream where this person appeared to me like somebody that I knew, but obviously I knew it wasn't them. And they, I don't know if you can use this or not, but they literally tried to have sex with me. So I'm assuming that it's that male energy. And that song, I always feel like somebody's watching me, like that'll go through my head sometimes, and it kind of tells me that And when I was listening to you guys this morning, that song came up in my head again. So that's really creepy. And obviously, with both of those energies, what I would want is to try to help them, basically cross over if I could, or if they don't want to do that, because I absolutely understand and respect free will, then to get them to leave me alone. I want to tell you guys that I have moved since I had those experiences, so I feel kind of bad because I did not realize in my attempt to astral project that I actually did the same thing that you did, Emily, because I didn't realize I was that successful. I had this thing in my head of how this is supposed to be and what it would be like and these expectations, and so I knew that I was able to achieve some of that, like I said, especially through when I was asleep, having these astral experiences, but I didn't realize that I was actually able to open a portal in my room. So I say that and I feel bad because I moved, and so I'm like, crap, I left an open portal in that place. But you guys talking about that made absolute sense to me. I know exactly the corner, and it was right by my bed that you're talking about, because that's where I saw most of the things. And then there was a window that was on the same wall as that corner, but it wasn't in the corner where I saw that astral spider. So totally validating all of that for you guys, 100%. So that being said, I'm going to re-listen to, Emily, your video where you talked about opening portals by accident and how to close them and things like that, because it's, I'm trying to learn and grow and advance psychically and develop my mediumship skills and all that, but I also want to be safe, and I'm obviously not trying to leave open doorways all over the place wherever I go. So I'm not sure that in my new home that I've done that, because I've actually been promoted since I moved. I got promoted actually right before we moved, and I've been super busy at work, so I haven't had as much time, like literally as much time to go into deep meditation, that kind of thing. So I'm not sure that I've done that again at my new home, but I have seen some things, so I probably have, unwittingly, right? So I'll need to, like I said, rewatch that video and learn how to deal with that, because I want to be able to grow and develop, but also not leave doorways open at the same time, you know what I'm saying? So thank you for that, and that's more hopefully more validation for you guys. And I'm assuming with the male that's trying to be a spiritual spouse, I don't know if I need to do some kind of banishment, but I will definitely want to, like I said, both those earthbound spirits, with the earthbound spirits, if I can help them, I want to, and I will, but if I cannot help them to cross over, then at least get them out of my space. Now, the disc that I saw with the spikes, I could see that either being a thought form or something that was clearing energy. Like I was saying, I didn't feel any negativity from it, but I didn't feel any benevolence either. And the reason I thought maybe that's an alien is just because it looks so weird. I've never seen anything like that. So it's like, okay, what's this? But that was definitely something. I've never seen it again. And so it's really, it's cool to know that I've basically been more successful than I thought. And as far as in terms of like the astral projection and being able to advance psychically and so forth, part of what I'm doing is, it's like I have this duality in my life of, I have my career that I'm really focused on, and I want to achieve that financial success and stability for myself and my family, and be able to provide safe harbor down the road if my brother and my brother-in-law need that. So it's important to me to have a successful career and be able to make enough money that I can do that, while simultaneously I'm developing as much as I can in my knowledge and my abilities, and going towards being able to help people, both living and dead and so forth, psychically and spiritually down the road. So definitely in the learning phase, because I'm not able, like literally not able to go into long daily meditations, which I think would be required to advance quickly. So yeah, I was just trying to say, I'm trying to get as advanced as I can, while simultaneously having this career where, you know, I'm literally gone 11, 12 hours, 5 days a week. So
Basically, it's in my time driving to and from work, and a lot of times when I'm at home, I think about these types of things, and I research and so forth. So I think that I'll continue to progress. It's just not going to be quite as quickly as if I had more time to again do really long focused meditations and things like that. So for now, I listened to you guys when I was getting ready this morning, and I took notes down. I'll re-listen, and if there's anything else I can think of, I will send that along. But definitely tons of validation for you guys, and thank you again so much for your help and all that amazing information. Hey Emily, sorry, but there's one other thing I need to say. I'm not sick, but since about 2 weeks ago, I feel a little bit dizzy, but I know I'm not sick, and so I think what it is I'm getting better from my psychic medium things. When I'm thinking about certain things about that, like I was thinking about the portal, I suddenly got, my head just got really weird. But again, I'm not sick or anything, so just a little bit dizzy. And there was, I think it was last week, I got really dizzy one day, and it was weird. It reminds me of sometimes it happens to you, and I know it happens to Melinda sometimes. You just get really dizzy all of a sudden. And it just happened to me when I was emailing back to Chasity. So I was like, wait, I gotta tell you too that that's been happening to me lately. Anyway, sending you lots of love. I hope you're doing well.
All right, guys. So we got Megan's validation. What do you think? Yay? Nay? Pretty awesome. We appreciate her doing that for sure.
All right, so one thing I really want to talk about is the male earthbound spirit, because as Chas was talking about him earlier in the episode, I started to get a visual, and I will insert the photo, and you've already seen the photo, but I'm just saying, like, I was able to see what he looked like, hence the photo. And I do want to point out that I've had similar experiences to Megan with things pretending to be people I know and getting down and dirty, if you know what I mean. And every time it's like, typically when people be trying to do that on the astral realm, I would always question it first off, because oftentimes a loved one isn't gonna do that. Because to me, I kind of feel it like it's on the verge of low vibrational, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It just, I just don't know how to explain to everyone, like, why I'm at that conclusion.
I think a lot of people, it's more common than people want to admit,
Yeah.
because people have these types of dreams. And I mean, she's even had the experience physically of being spooned while awake in
Yeah.
bed. And that does happen when you have spiritual spouses and lower vibrational things,
Mhm.
because I think it's a good time to state, and this is my personal belief, and I'm just going to say it. This is my truth.
Mhm.
I don't think higher vibrational beings participate in those types of acts because it is a 3D act. Higher vibrational beings are full of love and light, and they don't have a need to
Mhm.
perform the same types of acts that we do here on earth, because the reason we do that act is not only an energy transfer here in the waking world, 3D world. um they are, I don't want to use the word above those types of acts, but there's no need for those types of acts in the higher realms. Lower realms, though, that's a
Mhm.
totally different story, because they feed on that. And people that, and I'm not saying this is Megan or anything, but people that have had SA abuse will tend to experience this from lower vibrational entities, to be able to spark an emotional connection to a past event
Yep.
that they can feed off of.
Yep.
So you will hear of these things. And I'm not saying this has happened to Megan. We're not going to have none of that validated. I'm just
Mhm.
saying, for reference, for somebody out there listening, you might think this is wild and crazy, but for some of y'all out there listening, you may have had this experience. And I felt it was important just for me to state this now. I know some people disagree with that, but personally, for me, that's how spirit has explained it to me.
Well
So,
said, because I could feel like I know that, I just didn't know how to put it into words. So
right,
I 100% agree with you that I feel like it's more of a 3D thing, and those that are very high benevolent, you know, aren't going to do that because they're not of the 3D and they don't do the types of 3D things that lower vibrational things would do.
right, exactly. And
Mhm.
their existence is even somewhat different, even though it's composed of energy. The only way I know how to explain it is higher vibrations are lighter energy, lower vibrations are denser energy.
Mhm.
And that's something spirit has explained to me as well. Therefore, something higher, lighter energy is not as easily detected,
Mhm.
and it's not detected in the same way psychically as lower vibrational entities. And that is my personal interactions with
Well,
spirits.
yeah, it makes sense
So,
because like when I was speaking to Archangel Michael, he said that in order for me to see him more clearly, I would have to meet him at his vibration, which is way higher than mine,
right,
right? So that makes sense that the higher vibration a thing is, the lighter the energy, and you have to fine tune your frequency and vibration to theirs in order to communicate effectively.
right. And your guides can help you with getting there with a higher vibrational. But if the higher vibrational being, this is my experience, if higher vibrational beings come down and meet you and you rise up to them, if you do, it is a different feeling.
Yes.
It is a totally different feeling. Like, and for me, they come and sit in my auroric field, like just their it's like a funnel of their energy, so
Mhm.
to speak. It's like literally what I'm visualizing is like a tunnel or a funnel of their energy coming into my auroric field so I can experience. And I've actually channeled for Emily like that before with a celestial high vibrational being, and
Mhm.
it's totally different. My channeling, you could probably validate this for me. My channeling is totally different when I have something like that come through. Like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
wide open, and it's a beautiful thing, and it is different. But yeah, I mean, it was important, I think, to bring that up since she mentioned it, and we have mentioned this kind of stuff in the past, but it's not something we've really super duper touched on. So,
Yeah, and I think like I was saying, it's important to obviously not participate if you have that control, and or, question it, and if you can, to stop it, because that's a feeding method for lower vibrational things.
yes, and if it's happening, if something like that, you feel like maybe something like that's happening in your waking life outside of dreams, you can try to put clear quartz and black tourmaline in between your mattresses, and even put them beside of your bed,
Mhm.
to kind of and purposefully put them like in a distinctive way or in a distinctive place to, intentionally, you got to intentionally form what you would consider to be a barrier. Because I had things messing with me on my bed, and not necessarily in that sense, but I had something try to like come up on my back one night, and I still have crystals under my bed,
Mhm. I
and
do
ever
too.
since then. Yeah, so that's something like we talked about, and I learned a long time ago about putting them under your bed, and it will help. And there is help for stuff like that.
Mhm.
So
Just
very much
remember
so.
that you need to cleanse them and recharge them, though. So don't forget them underneath, and make
Yeah.
sure you rotate them and, do that stuff too.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can clear them and recharge them and put them back for your designated crystals,
Yeah.
because you can program them with that intention
Mhm.
for sure. Is there anything else you want to add about the validation?
Um so the portals, it's just, I mean, we kind of already talked about it, but I feel like in her new space, and she's astral traveling more than she realizes it, because I think people have this notion of what it's supposed to look like, and because of that, they don't realize that they're doing it, and it can come across as like very vivid in lucid dreams. And so like you have people like me, Megan, who, to go and travel, we create portals, energetic portals. And yeah, so it's important to close them when you're done, and at least try to have the intention to do it after. Like if you're doing a meditation where you're purposely trying to astral project, to make sure like as part of your whatchamacallits, I can't think of the word for it, of your routine, is to make sure everything's closed.
Yeah. And it's easier sometimes said than done because
Yes.
it's something that you have to really think about and work with your spirit team. And I want to add in, at this point, it'd be a good time to say that, Megan, I completely understand about your time constraints and how, it is necessary to have that me time to be able to meditate. Or for me, it's not just full meditations. For me, it's just time to where I can zone out and I can be sitting here watching TV and be off in another space and start receiving information. So it is different for everybody. But I just want to take the time to say that, you are very intuitive. So don't discredit, you're not necessarily discrediting yourself, but I think you are a lot more intuitive than you give yourself credit for. And now that I say that out loud, I think me and you talked about this a couple weeks ago when we did that astrology reading, and, you're sensing and feeling. And I want to make it a point, in your house, like I even struggle. Me and Megan are both very claircognizant. And even sometimes I struggle in my house to see everything. And that's where having an outsider perspective is. So don't be discouraged or anything by not being able. You felt the stuff, and that's what matters. I will see something so much clearer for somebody else than I can sometimes see it for myself, because the energy's around and it's so familiar, and you have to handle those things as they come, and they still can be handled.
Mhm.
But I just wanted to say that, you're super intuitive, and you've done a great job so far. And we definitely will be able to help you close out. I feel like I can help you close out this portal in the old house, even though you're not there, because it has your energy tied to it. And I know for a fact that I can help cross over these entities. And you were saying, Megan, that, you don't want to, um, you want to cross them over, and, you believe in free will. Well, the old lady, she's not necessarily hurting you. The ones that are hurting you, they're violating universal laws, and we can make them go no matter what. And I can have my spirit team take them. And I don't feel like it's going to be an extremely long process or anything. It might happen in seconds, it might take days. But we're going to, for the listener, we're going to be talking to her tomorrow on a Zoom call for 20 or 30 minutes to let her ask more questions and stuff like that. And it's something that we're not going to add to any other episode. We had talked about it. And if it doesn't get extremely personal and Megan's okay with it, it might be something for us to save for a later project. And I'm not going to jinx it. I'm just going to leave it there. But yeah, I mean, the very cool. The grandmother guide, I picked her up immediately. And that's, I'm thinking now back to the video where I said, I think there's something there protecting her from the bad stuff. I think that's part of the grandma.
Mhm.
I want to say grandma gang. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's her spirit team,
Yeah.
the grandma gang.
Mhm.
That just come out of nowhere. But like she does have, spirits around her that are protecting her, and they don't necessarily have to be around her in her physical space. They
Mhm.
can be around her in an astral sense and protect her that way too, because again, everything is mirrored. Um, so we can definitely get that taken care of. And is there anything else you want to add,
Well,
Emily?
I was gonna say her Pleiadian spirit guides with her too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, a while back, oh, maybe not a while back, she had asked me like if she was Pleiadian, like a star seed, and like I think during one of my lives a while back, she asked me about her spirit guide. I forgot, but I remember seeing Pleiadian spirit guide, and I know she's there protecting her with her grandmother. They're kind of like a duo.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
grandma gang.
Yeah.
That's cool. But
Mhm.
I haven't checked my emails because I ended up falling back asleep today, but I've got to check my emails and see if Megan has messaged me back, because I had a dream the night before and I sent her a photo, or like a really, really, really rough sketch of a house that I saw in that
Mhm.
photo. And I don't know if it's related, but we'll find out tomorrow. And that if it is, then I'll be able to use that even more tomorrow to help her on my part.
Mhm.
So I think that's going to be cool. But yeah, I think that's it. We just wanted to hop on and like kind of sum up the validation, and we greatly appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and cut back into the actual video. So getting ready to wrap it up, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Megan, for your validations.
And yeah, I think that's going to be it for this episode. We're trying to keep them short and sweet from now on. So until next time, guys.
Thank you, Megan, for sharing your stories.
Hey, if you have a haunted story you want to share, you can email us at lightsatmidnightpodcast@gmail.com. Get in touch with us there. We'd love to hear from you. We really appreciate y'all hanging around and checking it out. And yeah, thank you so much. We are super excited to bring you some super awesome content. We really appreciate you guys checking us out.
Thank you to all that took the time to listen to this week's episode. Your support means the world to us. And remember, all of us have the ability to shine brightly and shed positivity even in the darkest of places. Stay safe, stay well, and light it up!